Hey, girlfriend. I hope you're connected. I think I am. I'm pretty sure I am. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait till people come on in. I'm literally in the process of doing a couple things at the exact same time. So, this today's episode, it's really about you. This live stream, it's really about you in terms of like your questions about your natural hair, your questions about myself, anything really. This video is really all about you. For those of you who are fresh and new to Find Natural Hair Rocks, my name is Lavinia Latham, and I am the founder of Find Natural Hair Rocks. But I'm also a lawyer. I'm a human rights lawyer, and I had started doing human rights law, I would say before I even knew what human rights law was. Way back as early as I could remember, I wanted to become a lawyer, and it was something that just felt innate to me. I was always that person who was like, but that's not fair. So here I am today practicing the law that allows me to help people achieve fairness and justness, or justice rather, where fairness and justice might not be. So, yeah, where can I start? I hope that you might have came prepared with questions. I'm going to stay as long as questions roll in. But in the meantime, while questions are rolling in, I should say, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, go ahead and smash the like button if you're enjoying this type of more personal commentary, this more type of personal behind the scenes look at Find Natural Hair Rocks and who I am as the founder of Find Natural Hair Rocks. And also subscribe. If you've got fine hair, you've got natural hair that's fragile, very difficult to grow, then definitely let me know that as well too. Hi, love yourself. Love yourself says, hey, Lavinia, you look so pretty, girlfriend. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I am in, regular day gear. This is how I show up to my day job. I do work from home as a human rights and equity advisor. So I advise a school board directly on their human rights and equity matters. I'm not practicing, in the traditional sense in this moment as a human rights lawyer. When I say in the traditional sense, I mean representing clients, being in the what we call to be the tribunal. I'm not doing that. However, I am helping the school board with their policy as it relates to human rights and equity, ensuring that the policies that they create are actually helpful for the students and the families that they serve. The other thing that I do is I engage in presentations. So I do a lot of presentations, PowerPoints, conversations, very courageous conversations with students, family members, staff, anyone really who has a relationship to the school board to really start to develop their anti-racist leadership, their anti-oppressive leadership, in those kinds of ways that will create a better environment for everyone, regardless of their skin tone, their sexual orientation, their ability or disability, any of those kinds of things. What else can I tell you about the role? Yeah. There's a lot of stakeholder relationships. There is an element of conflict resolution as well. So when families have issues, they feel like their child is being picked on because of their race. They feel like maybe a student who is coming out. Maybe they feel that that student is not being supported properly in the schools. These are the kinds of things, the kind of cases that roll across my desk. So for a case like that, they did ask for a lawyer a role rather like that. They did specifically want a lawyer, a human rights lawyer, someone with my background and my experiences and my skill set to really assist with those issues, because I have actually argued in front of the Human Rights Tribunal. I have argued in front of, I would say, all levels of the court system here in Canada. And so I am able to kind of remove myself from that school setting and into the mind frame of a decision maker, a judge or justice of the peace, or a vice chair if we are dealing with the Human Rights Tribunal. Love yourself. Great question. Did you always want to be a lawyer? Yes, I 100% did. I knew from when I was a little girl that I absolutely wanted to become a lawyer. It was something that I would talk about every chance I got the opportunity to. And I do remember it's probably a good place to be as an influencer here in these YouTube streets as well as a lawyer, but oftentimes people would be like, wow, you talk so much. Like, you should definitely be a lawyer. And it wasn't just any commentary that was leaving my lips as a child, but it was also very intelligent, thought through commentary as well. Interestingly, and perhaps maybe you're going through something like this right now, but in grade 10, I did express to a teacher that my grade 10 English teacher, who had pulled me aside after submitting a really great essay. It was the number one essay in the class. Number one, the teacher thought that I had plagiarized the essay. So back then, of course, we did not have Chat GPT. All we had was whatever you could find at the library. And I believe I'm aging myself here, but the internet was kind of just sort of starting. So that wasn't really a major thing that you could go on and collect an essay and just plagiarize it as your own either. And so I said to the teacher, I was like, that's my own work. And so he was satisfied with that. And so the next question then became, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And so every single time I had shared my aspirations with, anyone who asked, and I said, hey, I want to be a lawyer, it was always met with, congratulations, you just got to work hard. We love to see young people striving for more, the regular kinds of things that you would say to anybody who's looking for more, bigger and better in their life. And so that's what I was looking for when I said that to this particular teacher. But that's not what I received, girlfriend. What I received was, you should probably think of something else, because becoming a lawyer is very difficult. And I only know two people who've achieved that accomplishment in their life thus far: my wife and my brother. So, I will be completely transparent. That teacher was a white male. And I, thank God, was very, headstrong and stubborn in what I knew I was going to do with my life. And it really didn't mean anything to me. It kind of bounced off my back. And here I am today. So it's important, the takeaway story, or point rather, from that is that whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life, you absolutely can. If you feel like you're behind, or you feel like you should have done more at this stage in your life, you absolutely shouldn't feel that way at all, because I firmly do believe that as long as you're breathing, as long as you have oxygen, as long as you have more life to live, you absolutely have an opportunity to become whatever it is that you want to be. So for me, that was a lawyer, and I've since achieved that goal, and I have higher, bigger, aspirations as well. Like, my aspirations never ever end. Like I said to you, and I take that advice to myself as well. Like, life is, as long as you're living, is as long as you can continue to dream and aspire and work hard to achieve even more. TJ says I'm early for once. Yes. You know what? This session is going to be available permanently here on Find Natural Hair Rocks. I was looking at some of our videos, and I was like, there's a lot of information about Find Natural Hair, and that is why we're all here together, girlfriends. But, sometimes you do want to know, who's behind the camera, who's behind these tips, who's behind this advice. And I never want to be kind of, away from that. I want to be, close enough where we're like a family. We are a family, we're a community. But at the same time, there's more to us and our community other than, our hair, which is absolutely an amazing fabric of togetherness. But, we're growing, and I wish to keep as much of that community piece together. And it starts off by us knowing each other, right? TJ, I have known since I was 17 that I wanted to go into physical therapy, and that was my only focus. My school counselor, white woman, told me I would struggle in the sciences and that I should be a teacher. Well, I just hit my 14th year as a practicing therapist in their face, and I love it still. I love that. It's actually quite crazy how many people, Black people, people of color, actually, I think that word has fallen out of favor, at least in Canada now. So we say racialized. It's very interesting how a lot of racialized people have that same story, whereby, they wanted to achieve something major with their life. In TJ's circumstances, that was becoming a physical therapist, right? Getting into physical therapy. And while there absolutely isn't anything wrong with becoming a teacher, it's a fantastic career. That's not what you said, right? That's not what you asked for. That's not what you said. It's like telling Beyonce, like, oh, you're not going to be an amazing singer who's changing the world by storm. You just stay in the choir. Like, that's the kind of things that racialize people here often, that you're aiming for too much, you're trying to be too big. Maybe calm down a little bit, little black boy, little black girl, whoever it is that you may be. So, TJ, thank you so much for sharing that story, because even in my role as human rights and equity advisor to this school board, I do hear that story quite often, and it's heartbreaking. We're in 2023, and here we are just learning and hearing about the same stories that had been taking place for decades and decades prior. So it's really heartbreaking, but at the same time, it does illuminate the fact that so much more needs to be done. Joan. Hi, Lavinia. I have a question. I'm interested in getting a natural afro wig to wear while my hair continues to grow. Where do you suggest I search? Thanks. Ooh, I love this. So there's a couple options for you, Joan. Fingercomber.com has gorgeous synthetic wigs. I'm gonna go ahead and drop Fingercomber's URL in the chat. I don't have any affiliations with Fingercomber, but absolutely, if you're interested in finding something, you can. There's also some really beautiful, I would say, Afro wigs from TonyDaly.com. Tony Daly is another YouTuber. She's Canada-based, Toronto-based, actually. Again, I'm not affiliated with Tony at all, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that link in the chat as well. Another place that you could check, I think, is good old Amazon. I do actually have an Amazon shop. And of course, I'm affiliated with that because it's my Amazon shop. But there's a whole bunch of wigs that I find, they really do very nicely blend in with fine natural hair. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight that one. And there's also products there for fine natural hair too. So nothing in the fine natural hair rocks is a product or wig that I haven't personally tried and personally loved and do recommend. Full disclosure, if you do purchase from the Amazon shop, it is supporting fine natural hair rocks, which supports the business of fine natural hair rocks to grow and be able to expand and reach more people, right? That's the whole point, in order to reach more people so that, we all deserve to feel comfortable in our own hair, skin, our own natural beauty. So if you are interested in that, then absolutely the links are available for you, Joan. Great question. Thank you. Clary. Hey, Clary. It's great to hear about your success as a lawyer. I love to hear these examples. Yes, absolutely. And Clary, I'm so happy that, this is resonating with you. I will say, girlfriend and girlfriend crew, like sometimes I'm a little bit, apprehensive, anxious about sharing about the, lawyer aspect of my life, which is massive. But I do also recognize the fact that it is a great departure from what we're here for, right? What we've gathered in this particular sacred space for, which is our fine natural hair. And so sometimes I don't want to oversaturate us with information that we didn't necessarily come here for, but I do recognize that our family is strengthening, our family is growing, and it's important for family to know each other. So if you're interested in hearing about, my lawyer stories, I'm absolutely interested in sharing more, because it is very important. It's a huge aspect of my life, and natural hair is a huge aspect of my life as well too. But of course, being a lawyer, working as a lawyer, navigating stories, cases, situations, it really does take up such a massive part of my life. So I'm always happy to share, always. And the takeaway point from this isn't to spotlight, my successes and what I've done, but it's really to show someone out there, anyone out there, whether it's a little black girl, little black boy, maybe it's yourself, girlfriend, whoever you might be, watching this during the replay, or you're in here right now. It's really to show you that, like, if I could be here in this space, having successfully done everything required to become a lawyer in Canada at that, then you absolutely can too. Don't ever let anyone tell you what you can or cannot do. Oftentimes when people tell you what you can or cannot do, that's a reflection of what they feel they can or cannot do. So as long as really internalize this message, you internalize the fact that, like, you are as strong as you want to be. I truly 100% believe that whatever it is that your heart and soul desires, you will absolutely be able to achieve, given that you're working towards that, and you're just not like ignoring the negativity. Block out the negativity. Hey, cuz, what's up, Stefan? Thank you so much for coming through. I really do appreciate it. Stefan, I have a question. When are you going to start incorporating CMOS for your hair and in products? So CMOS is something that I've seen quite a bit of in my organics. They've got CMOS in their collection. I've seen quite a few other collections coming about that also have CMOS. I am currently formulating a product line that is specifically for fine natural strands, and CMOS might be a part of it. For those of you who are watching either the live or you're watching the replay, Cyrus Joseph actually has a CMOS line that he actually sells CMOS, the natural form of CMOS that can be used. Either you can put it in your hair products, you can put it in your drinks, you can make a protein shake from it. There's a bunch of things you can do with it. So if you're really interested in that, then I definitely encourage you, Cyrus Joseph, to go ahead, drop your link in the comment section down below. Your Instagram handles, if anyone's interested in, just taking advantage of the amazing health benefits that CMOS has to offer. But absolutely, CMOS is something that I've been considering adding into our special Fine Natural Hair Rocks product line. Speaking of that, the Fine Natural Hair Rocks product line is going to be called Fine Natural Hair Rocks. I was kind of leaning away from it, but then I listened to our girlfriend crew, and you have been saying that you'd rather the line just be called what you know and love Fine Natural Hair Rocks for, which is the name. It's just a positive name in and of itself, and we should absolutely keep that continuity with whatever product line comes about. So, quick update on that. I am still working with a natural hair care line consulting firm here in Canada. We're trying to determine exactly what the main key ingredients might be. My cousin Stefan did mention CMOS. One of the ingredients that we're really, really, really looking at featuring, and I'm very specific in how I want it featured because this line is going to be a strong line, but Fenugreek. Fenugreek is something that is amazing for thickening fine natural strands. And what I love about Fenugreek is, whether you're available in or whether you're located in North America, the UK, maybe you're somewhere in Africa, India, we've got audience members all over the globe. Fenugreek is something that is usually accessible to people. So that's really important. I do like to think long term. So yeah, Fenugreek is a really fantastic ingredient in that sense. Joan, thanks so much. We'll go to your Amazon shop. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Clary, I think it helps, and perhaps I more understand your trajectory with your hair given your profession. Yes, exactly. So, given the profession, and just being a human rights lawyer, it's all about inclusion, right? It's about inclusion, it's about diversity, it's about celebrating differences rather than making differences, seek to divide and conquer. And one of the things that I noticed when I was getting into law school, one of the very first things that happened in law school was this recognition that I had to kind of park everything about myself that was Black, and which, hello, I'm Black, like there's nothing to park, right? But in order to be, successful in conservative Canada, which arguably is a lot more conservative than our American neighbors, but parking that Blackness, leaning into more Eurocentric hairstyles, Eurocentric conversational styles, Eurocentric relationships, everything, just Eurocentrism. And when I say Eurocentrism, I realize that's a term. So what that really means is, leading into more white ideals of live, working, and playing, as opposed to Afrocentric ideals of live, working, and playing. Now, for me, my family's from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I have an extremely strong connection to the West Indies. Yes, I was born in Canada, but I do have a very strong connection to the West Indies, one that I am not willing to dilute. And so, for that reason, when I got into law school, one of the first things that I did was I ran and won the seat of national president of the Black Law Students Association of Canada. It was a fantastic opportunity. I got to connect directly with the mayor of Ottawa. Ottawa is Canada's capital. I got to connect with, our Supreme Court of Justice members. At the time, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Canada was Chief Justice Beverly McLaughlin. And that, our Supreme Court of Canada is akin to SCOTUS in the US. It's the exact same level as the highest court of the land. So I share that with you to say that very early in my career, I felt that I was being thrusted into these leadership type roles that really required me to either lean in to exactly who I was unapologetically, or find ways to be as white as I possibly could. Now, I'm not going to say I'm perfect. There was a period in my life where I was wearing, straight hair, weaves. I was not feeling comfortable with my natural hair, which is why I decided to really fight back within myself, and start leaning into who I truly was. And hair, to anybody who doesn't understand what it's like to have a texture that's not celebrated, you don't see it, it's not represented anywhere. It might just look like it's just hair. Why do you care? But if you've seen and felt what it feels like to have to completely change your entire image just to fit in, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's a very famous Caribbean saying, I don't know which island it is, but it goes, he who feels it knows it, or the person who feels it knows it, which essentially means if you are experiencing whatever it is that you're experiencing, the negative experience, you will know what you're feeling because you are the one who's experiencing it, right? And you will know it better than someone who has not experienced that. So yeah, it's very interesting. Clary, I do appreciate you for kind of making that connection, because it's absolutely a connection. Hair discrimination is something that happens all the time. My area of law, human rights, anti-Black racism, discrimination, those are the areas that are my specialties, so to speak. There are quite a few laws that are still discriminatory within the US, and there are practices that are discriminatory as it relates to hair, even within Canada, right? And so here in Canada, I can only speak to Canadian law. I'm not a US trained lawyer, but here in Canada, we do have legislation called the Canadian Human Rights Act and the Ontario Human Rights Code that ensure that people are not discriminated against based on their hair. There's also racism and discrimination that have happened through hair products, right? Let me know in the comments below if you remember the relaxer, and the fact that the relaxers have been found to be connected, directly linked to fibroids in Black women, and even there's a potential link with cancers. And so that's anti-Black racism. I mean, when you create a product and you market that product directly to only Black people, Black women specifically, you will absolutely create a situation where there's anti-Black racism through marketing, specifically towards these people. Now you've got a class of individuals who are more likely to be negatively impacted by this product because they're the ones who are more likely to be marketed this product. And so there's actually a class action going on in Canada right now that I've been watching. And I have seen some similar class actions in the US as well against relaxer companies. And to that, I say good for them. They absolutely deserve it. In terms of whatever's coming down the pipeline as it relates to a monetary reward for Black women who have suffered in this way. And we still see the effects of that to this day. Cyrus Joseph, do you sell satin pillows and satin durans on your website? So I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but I don't sell any satin pillows or satin pillowcases at this moment. In terms of merch, we do have a merch line. I did tag a few of our products down below. There's much more products available than just the two that are there. Girlfriend, if you are wanting to support Fine Natural Hair Rocks, if you enjoy Fine Natural Hair Rocks, I do encourage you to go ahead and purchase something. The proceeds of the merch line do go towards funding the hair care line, which will be available hopefully as soon as possible. Love yourself. What's up, Mary? Can't wait for the hairline, and sounds like it will have great ingredients. It absolutely will. I cannot wait for the hairline either. Full disclosure, my deadline for that was Black Friday. I was hoping to have the products available for our Girlfriend crew by Black Friday. The consultation process has taken a lot longer than I expected. I did consider just creating products from my home because we absolutely do have enough space for storage in terms of stock and inventory. But what happened was I wanted to make sure that, number one, the product is shelf worthy. So you can do a DIY product from home and, it might not be shelf worthy. If I'm sending something out to a girlfriend all the way out in the UK or maybe in California, like one of our listeners here, it might be that by the time the product leaves Canada and it gets to you, it's no longer good. And so to avoid all of that, we really do need to make sure that there are preservatives in there, and the preservatives need to be natural grade preservatives. They need to be good quality preservatives is that will not only do the job that's required for it to be done, which is, preserving the product, but it will also be very, very healthy for fine natural strands. And that is a big ask. Oftentimes, some of the preservatives that are used are not the greatest. And so, these are some of the things that I'm looking for as it relates to our fine natural hair rocks, our first product. Cyrus Joseph, and also look into Botana Oil for your hair. So, Cuzzy, we have to talk because I've never heard of Botana Oil. Girlfriend, you let me know in the comment section if you've ever heard of Botana Oil. This one's a new one to me. I love hearing about new ingredients. I love hearing about, new aspects of natural hair care that maybe I overlooked or did not hear about. So yeah, I would love, love, love to know. Oh, Cyrus says, sorry, durags. Yeah. So durags, pillowcases, satin bonnets, any of those things. I am not currently providing access to those things just yet. But definitely it is open to find natural hair rocks somewhere down the line as we expand to maybe provide those pieces as well. Life with D, Caribbean A. I love the word there's always like one West Indian out there, or just one, even if it's just one, somebody who's bigging up the Caribbean. The Caribbean is something to be celebrated. Again, my family's from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We do have family members from Trinidad. Shout outs to Cyrus Joseph, who is Trinidadian, was born and raised very briefly there. But, myself, I was born in Canada. And so Canada, the Black population here in Canada is a very interesting one. Majority of us are Caribbean based or Caribbean. Either we are immigrants from the Caribbean or immigrants came and had their children there like me. And now we're, the firstborn in Canada. But that linkage, that connection to the Caribbean is always strong. The soca, the music, the food, the culture is just strong, right? So, I mean, you know what? To that point, if you're from the Caribbean, let me know in the comment section. And if you're not from the Caribbean, still let me know in the comment section because, we're peoples, right? You're getting to know me. I want to get to know you. This is a back and forth. Live, work, clean. Nice. I love that. I can't wait for the hairline as I am searching for some more natural ingredients. So yes, natural ingredients are so important. I would say in the meantime, if you can get your hands on some fenugreek, fenugreek is really good for hair tea rinses. Perhaps I should do a video on that actually, to show you what a rinse looks like because it's something new that I've been implementing. I really am trying to thicken up my strands, each individual strand. So using fenugreek for tea rinses is good. Using fenugreek for, if you're trying to do a deep conditioning treatment, it's good as well. One of the things about fenugreek though, that maybe if you're pregnant, consider not ingesting it directly. I have heard that there's some anecdotal evidence that it can perhaps induce an early labor. So if you are pregnant, I wouldn't recommend drinking it, but I believe it's safe to put into products on top of your scalp or, just using it externally to the body. So yeah, the hair care line is really exciting. The last update that I provided on the hair care line, I'm gonna go ahead and drop that link in the chat because yeah, this is for you. This hair care line is for you. It's for us. It's something that when I first went natural, if we had access to that, I feel like it would have been a much easier, um, you know, it would have been a much easier journey. So, going back to this whole lawyer journey, it was a massive part of my life. I do feel like, my 20s were dedicated to becoming a lawyer. Law school was insane. Like there are quite a few different not emails, but videos here on YouTube where people talk about their law school experience, and it was crazy. I will say I have always been someone who likes to read. I've always been someone who likes to learn. And so, going to school was always exciting for me. Around these times, some of the kids are like, oh my gosh, back to school. I'm hearing about all these back to school commercials and stuff like that. I don't want to go back to school. Whereas for me, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, back to school. Like, I was always excited. I was that weird kid that was excited to go back to school. I was also that weird kid that was like, even if I was roasting up with a fever and, completely can't keep anything down, I was still arguing with my mom to let me go to school, right? So, for me, I was always somebody who loved school. Now, even with that predisposed nature to love school, love reading, love having some type of a written assignment or project or whatever to submit back to the teacher, I found law school to be very difficult. Like, I found it to be education on crack. Like, it was insane. I mean, the readings, the textbooks, they don't have pictures, so it's all just like condensed, like really dense material. The information is extremely outdated, so you're learning about cases that took place like hundreds of years ago with like random people who you have no connection to. Trust me, I learned way too much about some man named Lord Denningham. Never want to hear more about him again. It was just insane. But I mean, the reason why we had to go through all those readings, why we had to learn about the Lord Denninghams of this world, is because, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. It's been that long, but I'm pretty sure it was Lord Denningham. But anyways, we had to learn those things because that is what taught us as young law students becoming lawyers how to think critically, how to lean into what has happened in the past so that we can make good decisions moving on in the future, how to be able to risk assess, right? You're not going to be very good at risk assessing if you don't understand, circumstances that have led to certain consequences from the past, and be able to apply those learnings, those lessons to the future. So that was very difficult. The other very difficult part about becoming a lawyer, law school specifically, was the competitive nature. So getting into law school was actually very, very hard. Here in Canada, we don't have as many law schools as there are in the US. There's only, I want to say, a handful. In the US, they've got law schools everywhere. And, because they have law schools everywhere, I mean, that's a difficult process in and of itself, because people absolutely want to be going to law schools that are more ranked higher, I guess. Obviously, a school like Princeton might have a way, or will rather have a way higher score and ranking, as opposed to a law school that, maybe is a small, tiny storefront shop in New York, right? Not saying one is better than the other. I don't want to compare, apples and oranges, but here in Canada, all of our law schools, I would argue, are, Princeton levels. So you do have to, they're all institutions, been around forever. They're very prestigious. They're very difficult to get into. And you can imagine that there weren't a lot of people who look like me, right? There absolutely weren't. We all knew each other. And, it was just it was actually crazy. So, some of the competition that happened, like, people would go into the library and they would like literally hide books. Like, there would be one exam, and the one exam is reliant on the cases in that one book, and somebody would go and hide the book so that only they had access to the book. I remember dealing with that. And I remember being mind blown because, number one, I had come from undergrad, just like everyone else. So everyone else is coming out of undergrad, or maybe they're a mature student and law is a second career for them, whatever. But everybody was new to this law school experience where we were all graded on a curve. So what that means is that when you're graded on a curve, only a certain amount of students can get the A. And then more students can get the B, even more students can get the C, and then maybe, whoever else can get the D. But there was only a very small percentage of students who could get a straight A on that grade, on that, whatever it is, the exam, paper, whatever. And so that was the first time that I was ever graded on a curve. And that was very stressful, because it's like, even if your answer was correct, even if, you were giving the perspective that made sense for the case in front of you, if that perspective, if that analysis didn't match perspective in the analysis of your professor, then guess what? You're not getting the A. And so you could imagine, as a Black woman, as a young Black girl, my perspective, my analysis is going to be completely different than somebody who might be relatives with Lord Denningham, right? So, I mean, it is what it is, I would say, I would argue, knowing what I know now, that, the circumstances, the experience for non-white students was a lot more detrimental. It was a lot heavier than it was for students who might, have grown, lived, and been in that environment for all their lives. Now, if you throw in a professor who is also from the Caribbean, who is also Caribbean Canadian, maybe they're from Trinidad, St. Vincent, wherever, we would have a similar way of looking at life. And that is true for anybody who, has a very similar lived experience as yourself, right? You are naturally going to be able to think and act and live in similar ways to someone who thinks and acts and lives in similar ways to you, right? And so being able to step out of the mind frame of a young Black girl with a Caribbean heritage and into the mind frame of, like, the white dominant society here in Canada, or white dominant class in Canada, that was very difficult. And it was something that I'm happy to say I was able to overcome, and I did so successfully. But it was extremely depressing. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, girlfriend. It was extremely depressing. It was very, 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 very hard. Live, work, clean. Caribbean all the way, born Jamaican. Yes, I love Jamaica. Jamaica is so nice. This year, I'm actually going back to Jamaica. It's gonna be my 3rd trip, and I can't wait. I don't have any family members from Jamaica, but Jamaica's just nice, man. Like, if you can ever travel and you're going to the Caribbean and you're one of those people who like a lot of adventure, you're one of those people who, you want to be doing the horseback riding through the beach, you want to be doing the climbing through a falls, you want to be doing like touristy type things that are really well organized, Jamaica. Jamaica's amazing. And I feel like I can say that because I've been to most of the islands now, albeit I've been to them through cruises, but I've been to St. Vincent, I've been to Trinidad, Barbados, Grenada, Antigua, Cuba. I've been to them, right? And there's just something about Jamaica. Like, I just keep going back to Jamaica. So yes, Jamaica's amazing. I love Jamaica. That's a lot of Jamaica talk, but Jamaica's really fun. It really is. Clary, loved your back to school excitement. I enjoy reading too, but your studies are next level. Yes, back to school is a beautiful time. I just feel like it's an opportunity to, like, whatever you had to learn about last year, and whatever you grew as a person in your studies the year before, now you have an opportunity to come back anew. For the little kids, the youngins, you have an opportunity to, make a new relationship with your teacher, make a new relationship with your friends. The air is crisp. Like, it just feels like there's, like, opportunity in the breeze, right? So for me, like, yeah, like, this excitement, it's something that I've carried throughout. Even as stressful as my job is, when the students aren't in school, my role really does slow down. I don't have to focus as much on, alive cases that are kind of streaming through with angry parents, angry advocates, and everybody's looking at me for the solution. Like, that goes away. But, I do get to focus on legal policy. I do get to focus on strategizing for presentations, getting people to avoid the situations that get them into court in the first place. But come September, all of that, in terms of the stress and the kids, like, it just kind of dissipates, because it's like we have a new opportunity to start on the right foot. And it's nice if we can actually get on the right foot too. So yes, back to school excitement, it's real. Life with D. Did you just graduate law school? Oh, I love you. That is such a nice question. Oh, God bless you. No, I have not. I have not just graduated from law school. I've been a lawyer since 2015. So I am entering into my, oh my gosh, eighth year of practice. I've been a lawyer for 8 years. That's insane, right? Life with D, I will say that I did become a lawyer quite young. So I did actually go to undergrad. I took 1 year off between undergrad and law school, and then went straight to law school, but not before getting into law school first. Much to the chagrin of my mother, she wanted me to just do law school and then undergrad and then straight to law school. But I just needed a break. Like, it was really hard to get into law school. Getting into law school meant having like 4 jobs at the same time. I remember I was like campus tour guide. I was a residence advisor, which is basically the person who's running the floor. There were like 50 students who were reporting directly to me. In addition to that, I had like an administrative assistant role at the residence advisors, their building, the housing department. And then on top of that, I had a 4th job at Rooster's Cafe, which was like our on-campus coffee house. So I don't know how I did that. Like, I clearly didn't need sleep because Like, I had to do all of that to prove to law school, the law school admissions teams, that, like, hey, I can juggle a bunch of things at the same time. But then on top of that, I had to be able to show a good transcript with good grades. And then on top of that, I had to be able to show there was like a professional letter, like a reference letter from a professor. Then on top of that, they wanted you to do a personal statement, which had to be written good and had to be written in a way that just logically flows to entering into law school. And then on top of that, again, I had to have a strong LSAT score, which is the law school admissions test. So it was a lot. It was a lot. But I mean, that was what was required. They really wanted to be able to pull and glean those who can really manage the stresses of law school. And when I did get into law school, I remember it like it was yesterday. It all made sense. It totally made sense why you would need to be able to juggle all these moving parts successfully in order to get into law school. Because as a lawyer, oftentimes, the information coming at us is like 5 million pieces of information. And it's the lawyer's job to be able to sift through the nonsense to get to the pieces that are actually really important. So, it's just really, really interesting that those were the requirements. Joy, love you are having this live right now. I was just about to get legal update on the Alexi Treviso. So I'm not familiar with the Alexi Treviso. I feel like that's something major that I probably should know about, but I've been totally engulfed in this anti-racist leadership course that I've been teaching along with some of my colleagues. So I'm not sure what that is, but you know what? I'm actually loving this live as well. Girlfriend, whoever's watching this, you let me know if you want to see more Ask Me Anything sessions. I've been wanting to have it for a while, but again, I've been scared of having it because I was like, maybe they might not like this. Maybe they don't care what to know about law and all these completely irrelevant things to hair. But it's clear that we're interested in this and we're having a good time because I am too. So maybe I will bring it back. If you want it back, I will definitely bring another session. Clary, what you are saying about how West Indians think compared to the majority of population is so important to realize. My family is from Jamaica too, and I'm London, UK born. Yes, it's a very specific mindset. And I feel like everybody has that connection with whoever is that their whoever their heritage is, right? If your heritage is based in something similar to somebody, you're absolutely going to be able to connect a little bit more deeply. I can connect with reggae, soca, dancehall. I can connect with what English patois sounds like. I can connect with those things, right? I can connect with those things a lot more easily than I can connect with, say, for example, the way people speak in Nigeria, or the way people speak in New York, or the way people speak down south. And vice versa. I'm sure the same for them. So it's just really, really interesting stuff because Blackness is so diverse, right? And that's one of the things I've been struggling with a lot too, trying to get people on the same page. Being Black is not a monolithic. There are completely different versions of Blackness across this entire globe. There are Black people in Hawaii, Lahana. God bless the souls that were lost in that recent catastrophe. There is a specific kind of Blackness that's in Brazil versus Italy versus Nigeria versus Jamaica versus Haiti versus New York, Alabama, like Florida. Like, there are just different versions of Blackness. So in doing this work, one of the biggest challenges that have kind of come my way, as well as I would say the human rights framework, the human rights community's way, is trying to create the terminology, number one, around what equity, equality, diversity, all these things even looks like, when we're trying to define such different people who are similar. Of course, we're similar. We've got the hair, we've got the complexions, we've got those things, but we are not as similar as some of these different policies might make it seem, right? I think that there's a huge difference in, if you come from a different culture, you come from a different background, you speak a different language. Like, even in the Caribbean itself, my husband is Haitian. He's Haitian, he's from the Caribbean. And you best believe there are some serious differences, some very interesting differences between what it means to be Haitian, French Caribbean versus what it means to be, English Caribbean. Maybe you're from Trinidad, Jamaica, St. Vincent, whatever, right? And that's just in the Caribbean. Like, we haven't even moved continents yet, let alone talked about, within North America. So yeah, it's really interesting stuff. And y'all, I can nerd out about this a lot. So don't get me going. Cyrus Joseph, I know this is totally off topic, but what are your thoughts on the whole Montgomery Riverboat brawl? Also, big up to Matrini, Vinci Grenada, and Beijing Passe. Yes, I knew somebody was going to ask me about the Montgomery Riverboat brawl. Number one, I will say that justice was served. Like, you can't just start throwing up your hands at people for no reason. Now, I don't condone violence. I absolutely do not condone violence. But what I saw in that video was that that group of individuals, those people, they were willing to kill this man over doing his job. And I'm actually quite, the totality of the situation, while it's unfortunate that it was violent, I think it's quite fortunate that the man left it, the situation, the black man, the security guard, left the situation alive and well and able to speak on the situation and live to see another day, especially since he was simply doing his job. I feel like there's a lot of moving parts there. Did so many people need to jump in? I don't know about all that, but I'm happy that the security guard is still living to tell the tale, because I feel like the way we've been seeing, the media go lately, the way we've been seeing so many instances of anti-Black racism play out, we've been seeing situations where it doesn't end with the victim having their life intact. And so I think it's a new day. It shows that, people are not willing to be stepped and trampled upon. People are going to fight back. I mean, again, I don't condone violence, and I certainly don't condone collecting criminal charges. But if the end result is that, someone is alive, no one was killed, praise God for that. I think that that's a good thing. And so I'm just pulling the positives out of the situation, because I think that there were positives there. It's unfortunate that, we needed to get to that point with these things happening. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I trust you, Stefan. Trust you to bring that over here. Trust you. The fan one. Anything I can do to thicken my very thin hair? Yes, there's a lot of things you can do to thicken your hair. So you can, deep condition your hair more often. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link in the chat. I feel like I talk about this quite often. And, I don't want to, be repetitive or anything like that. But while I'm looking for this, if you are enjoying Fine Natural Hair Rocks, you are looking to thicken up your fine strands, you're looking to grow fragile natural hair, you're enjoying the advice from somebody who does have a legal background as a human rights lawyer, insofar as that's connected to your hair journey, then absolutely go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and also hit up that notification bell button as well too, so that you never ever miss another video. So here is the link to one of the main things that I think has thickened up my fine natural hair. Something I wanted to share with you, and I will go ahead and probably post more about this once it happens, is Fine Natural Hair Rocks was actually invited to our very first influencer event. And so it was a really interesting moment, because I don't necessarily see Fine Natural Hair Rocks as an influencer type platform. But I guess technically it is. I guess this is more of an educational space, I think, content creation around fine natural hair tips, tricks, and advice. But we will absolutely be at the Toronto Curly Girl Meetup. It's hosted by Shea Moisture, and Fine Natural Hair Rocks was specially invited to attend. So I'm super excited about that. I think I'm gonna go ahead and vlog the entire experience, because it's just interesting. It's the behind the scenes stuff. I think it's really cool to share. And I mean, I like to watch those things on YouTube. I hope you like to watch those things on YouTube as well. So, girlfriend, I'm going to give a couple more moments for any, last minute questions, anything. If there is a question on your mind and you're interested in letting me know, but maybe the thought comes to you after the live has ended, that happens to me all the time. Then don't hesitate. Go ahead and drop that comment in the description, or sorry, in the comment section. You can't drop it in the description. In the comment section, and I will absolutely respond to every single comment that comes my way. I'm actually going to have a look. There are some comments that have come in, some questions.
for people who have been looking for some answers. So, for example, Connected to Me Now submitted a question and asked, workout friendly protective styles for thin hair. So, I think workout friendly protective styles for thin hair include just, your regular maybe a bun, maybe you could do a wash and go, maybe you could do braids. Right now I'm rocking a weave and I have like a little head tie on top. These are really great ways to, rock your fine natural strands in ways that are not going to be damaged. Let's see. Darlene D. Rivera. I really enjoy your videos and appreciate your knowledge. How often do you trim your ends and do you do it yourself? Fantastic question, Darlene. And thank you so much for watching Fine Natural Hair Rocks. I'm glad it's been very helpful for you. So I trim my hair about 4 times per year. I do it every 4 months or so, and I don't do it myself. So during the pandemic, I absolutely did trim my hair myself because that's all we had access to. But since we've reopened, I do go to my stylist here in Toronto. Her name is Zermarla, and she's amazing. She's absolutely fantastic at what she does. The fan one, very congratulations and thank you for your answer. You're so welcome. Clary, thank you, Lavinia. I enjoyed the Ask Anything format. Please share your influencer experience. I'd be interested to see it. Absolutely. I am so happy to bring you along this experience with me. It would not be an experience without you. So I will definitely be posting more about that. Girlfriend, thank you so much for watching our very first Ask Me Anything session, live stream. I really enjoyed this. I was nervous about it at first because I was like, suppose no one has any questions. But you didn't disappoint. You didn't leave me hanging. And I really do appreciate that. So you will most likely see another I'm a lawyer / natural hair content creator Ask Me Anything session in the future. I don't know when, but if today's any indication of how much fun it was for us both, then I will absolutely be doing another one in the future. Thank you so much, girlfriend. I love you so much from the bottom of my heart. I wish you a blessed and beautiful week on this new Monday. And yeah, go into your life, go back to whatever it is with all the blessings from the good Lord above. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, girlfriend. Bye.